Welcome to the Beyond Sugar Freedom podcast. I'm your host, Danielle Dame, holistic nutrition coach and speaker. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Beyond Sugar Freedom podcast. I'm your host, Danielle Dame, sugar freedom coach and speaker. And today we have another really powerful episode in store for you. And I'm extra excited today because it's been a long time since I have recorded an episode, just me sharing my wisdom and talking about all of these various topics on healing our journey with food. So today I'm back to share some wisdom with you. We're taking a break from having guests on the show, and I know that you've been loving the guests, and hopefully you love this obviously as well. So as you know, I love to start these episodes with some updates, some insights, some reflections. I mean, every week I'm learning and growing, and there's something, either that I'm being reminded of or a conversation that comes up in a client call that I love sharing with you, these little quick snippets on the podcast. And today, actually, what I want to share with you is a moment of pride. It's actually a monumentous moment right now as I'm recording this, because for those who don't know me yet, I am not a tech savvy person at all. It is not my passion. It's not my forte. And the software that I've been using to actually record this podcast, both the audio version and the video version, which I put up on YouTube, if you didn't already know that, has been giving me troubles for the last at least 3 months. I have spent countless hours on tech support, reaching back and forth, trying different things, trying settings and changing things. And finally, if you are listening to this episode right here, right now, that means I've fixed the problem. I'm feeling really proud of myself because, of course, in the end, it ended up being a lot easier of a fix than I thought. It was just toggling on a button in my browser that the tech support team had forgotten about until now. So feeling kind of proud. Maybe you can get some life lessons out of that as well, that sometimes the solution to our problem, here we go. Here's the lesson, right? I can pull it out of anything. The solution to our problem is easier than we thought, right? Sometimes it can just be a 30-second flicking of a switch, right? Maybe you're overthinking it. And this is so common. We do this all the time. It must be some huge, solution or really tricky work that I have to do to find a solution to my problem. And maybe, just maybe, it's easier than you thought. So there's a lesson for you. See, I can find it in anything. Give me a challenge, I'll find a lesson for you. And the other thing that I wanted to mention that actually happened to me last night, I at the time of this recording today, I'm not feeling like myself. I woke up this morning actually feeling hungover and just dehydrated, and I had a bit of a headache. I felt tired, not rested. And it was such a great reminder why I don't overdo it when I drink and I don't overdose on sugar. These days where we wake up feeling that way, it's really hard to get going. And now for anyone who's curious, no, I was not actually hungover, but it was a really interesting experience of how dehydrated I accidentally got last night and didn't really look after myself to make sure that I woke up feeling hydrated. So Ben has been away for a week. And last night we had a sauna together. For those who don't know, we invested in a wood-burning cedar barrel sauna last fall. Best investment I've ever made for my connection with myself. It's such a sacred space that I love to be in as much as possible, but also for my health. We do the cold plunge and the whole amazing, routine with the sauna. But we were in the sauna last night and we were in there catching up. It's such a space where there's no technology. We connect. We really get to debrief about our weeks and our days. And so we were doing that. And because we had so much to catch up on, we ended up staying in there a lot longer than we normally do. So we were sweating a lot more than we normally do. And even though I bring in my quart-sized mason jar with a pinch of Himalayan salt for electrolytes, apparently I did not get the electrolytes that I needed. Usually I drink about 2 of those liters of water when I have a sauna, and I only drank 1. And I usually put lemon in it as well to really have some well-rounded electrolytes instead of just the salt. And I forgot to do that last night. So all that being said, I dehydrated myself. I really, really felt it this morning. And wow, it was such a reminder of obviously how important hydrating is. Whether you're overdosing on something or drinking too much or not, you can apparently still wake up hungover if you're feeling dehydrated. So That's a reminder in that as well for anyone out there who does fitness or sauna or sweat, right? There's so much marketing and advertising out there around all these electrolyte supplements, and it drives me bonkers because they are loaded with crap. They're loaded with toxic chemicals, sugar, artificial sweeteners, which are even worse than sugar, in my opinion. I'll do an episode on that soon. But they're not actually just the vitamins and minerals that we need. Like electrolytes are literally just vitamins and minerals that our body needs in order for the hydration process to take place, right? For the water to actually get in our cells and be used and for us to be hydrated. So yes, sodium from salt is one of them, magnesium, calcium, there's a couple. And you can actually get those naturally. So please, if you are using any of those like electrolyte supplement things, heaven forbid you're still drinking Gatorade. No judgment here, but please put the Gatorade down and really look at what's going in and know that you can actually create this concoction of maybe you want to take a supplement, maybe you want to. I remember when we first got our sauna, I did some research around and found out that lemon and salt in your water actually has a pretty good electrolyte balance. Obviously, yes, there might be some things missing in that electrolyte balance. And when I had my sauna last night, we actually ate dinner after. So I did get some vitamins and minerals that way. Apparently not enough. But you can do these things, you can hydrate and add these things that are actually natural to your water, right? So do some research. And if you are going to use tablets or those drops or things that you're maybe putting in to build electrolytes, please look for the ones that don't have chemicals in them and don't have sweeteners in them. And of course they add sweeteners because they want it to quote unquote taste good, right? They want you to get hooked and love the taste of their product. So obviously like calcium and sodium and magnesium aren't really, and potassium, right? They're not really going to like taste delicious if you add a powder mixture of that to your water, right? So they're adding these things just like other food items to get you hooked, to make you love, right? The flavor of them. So please start flavoring naturally. I love sometimes also adding cucumber to my water, just you add some berries, like add some things, when that are natural flavors, if that's something that you feel like you need in order to get the water in. So there's your little rant, little side tangent and rant about electrolytes. Make sure to get them. They're very important, especially if you're going to be sweating more. I know here we're heading into summer now, and there's going to be more sweat. There's going to be more warm days out in the sun, and those electrolytes are going to be even more important. So especially if you're in the sauna for way too long. So look after yourself. You've been warned. I also want to celebrate something really big. At the time of this recording, we just wrapped up the incredible 8-week emotional empowerment program. It has been so out of this world hosting this program really for the first time in a couple of years. And I recreated this program from scratch. I refilmed all the videos. We had an incredible group of women who just graduated from this powerful inner journey and reconnecting with their emotions and really stepping into being an emotionally powered woman. So I just want to take a minute to shout out to all of you who I know a lot of the women who were in that program listen to the podcast. So giving you a moment to really celebrate you. We had some really incredible shifts and transformations that took place in just 8 weeks. Really such deep peace and awareness and love and real connection with their higher selves. It's been such a powerful journey to watch what these women have been through in just 8 weeks and the challenges they've been through. And one of the fun side effects that actually I'm going to have to do a whole episode on this side effects of this inner healing that we do around our root causes and struggles with food. Some of the side effects is actually when you become more in tune with your truth and who you really are at your core, you start to wake up and notice areas in your life that might not be in alignment. And we actually had 2 or 3 women in this group that have decided to change jobs. This is so fun. This is not the first time this happened. I love it when this happens because it's so often that we get stuck in a situation in life that's not actually giving us joy. It's not actually what we want to do. Maybe it's not a relationship we actually want to be in. And when you start actually knowing that you're worthy of your dreams and living a passionate, free, amazing life, you start to call yourself out on where you're out of alignment and start to actually make changes. So I think on our wrap-up call the other day, one of the women just shared that she got accepted for a new job. Like we went through the whole process with her through the program and really honoring her power and her truth and her worth in being worthy of, well, in her instance, not being treated like just horribly at her current job, and knowing that she was worthy of being treated kindly and being in a job that she loved and where she was respected. So that was really beautiful, a really cool kind of side benefit as we do this inner healing. So I just wanted to share that because I thought that's a really fun story and something that not a lot of people talk about, when you get off sugar and you start eating healthy. But as you know, hopefully by now, my passion is doing this deep inner healing. And when we heal from our core and from where the root cause of what's actually going on with our patterns with sugar, it actually shows up as the root cause for all areas of our life, right? Our relationships, our job, the way we treat ourselves, in other areas, our ability to set boundaries, people pleasing, like all of this stuff, right? The more we connect with ourselves, the more, those patterns, both with food and everything else in life, start to shift. So it's really, really, like really powerful healing. And I'm so proud and grateful for this incredible group that we had going through the program. And if you want to join the next one, I'm going to put the waitlist link below the show notes to come and join my next program, which is a slightly different rendition of what we just went through. It's called the Break Free from Sugar group program. I'm going to be recreating and filming all new content for this program. It's a 10-week program that I'm hosting in the fall of 2022. So if you want to be the first to know all the nitty-gritty details about that specific program and work with me and be a part of this incredible group of women doing this deep healing work together, then come and get your name on the wait list. I would love to have you there. And everyone on the wait list always gets some extra special bonuses. Plus, they get to know what's going on behind the scenes before anyone else. So if you're curious at all to know anything about it, just drop your name on the list below. And stay tuned. Stay tuned, as that is going to be launching in the fall. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I just want to start again. I want to do it now, but I know summer is always a tricky time. Okay, enough with the insights and the updates. I'm so excited to talk about today's topic because the fact is, whenever you decide to change something in your life, there's always going to be pushback from the people around you. And I'm going to explain why. Okay, yes, the people around you love you. They want to support you. They want to see you grow. But at the same time, they don't. And it's really nuanced and important to understand why that's showing up. So if you can relate, if you've been trying to give off sugar or trying to make healthy changes in your life, and you're noticing that maybe your parents or other family members and your friends are kind of trying to pull you down, or they're really just not showing up and supporting you. Maybe they're saying things like, oh, come on, just have one cookie, live a little. Or why are you being so healthy all the time? That's too intense. Or maybe they're also, handing you some treats and saying, come on, just a little bit of sugar. It's fine. It's not a big deal. If you can relate to any of that, I know I can. There's so many ways that our friends and family can actually be sabotaging our success and our progress, especially when you're in the early stages where you're maybe not so confident in this decision to give up sugar, right? Maybe you've given up sugar. Maybe you're just starting to do some of this inner healing work and set better boundaries. You better believe you're going to get pushback when you do that. And there's a couple reasons. And I really, really want to dive deep into that today because this is such a big factor in what I see so many people letting derail them on their journey, right? There are so many challenges to actually building a healthy relationship with sugar and food. And this is a big one because the social pressures are real. And the people that we spend the most time around or respect the most, right? Like our close friends, our close family, maybe some coworkers, right? These are the ones that really do have a lot of power in influencing us and making us second guess ourselves, making us cave in to peer pressure, right? This is real, okay? We're adults, but peer pressure is still a thing because we have this innate need to want to fit in. We have this very deep, our ego needs to fit in. It needs to be known to be part of the group, right? To be the odd one out is really dangerous. What our brain actually thinks is as soon as my friends don't accept me, I'm going to be left alone in the woods to die. It sounds crazy and hilarious, but that is actually how our subconscious primal brain still operates. That was the first part of our brain that ever developed as human beings. And that was a reality back in the day when we lived in tribes. If your tribe kicked you out, you would probably die on your own. So we don't have that anymore, but that part of our brain is still very much operational. And this is where people pleasing comes in, and our tendency to just really want to fit in and make everybody happy. And there's so many nuances to this. So understanding that when our friends and family are not actually supporting us properly, that it could be a huge, huge reason that maybe you've been struggling year after year to consistently stay off sugar. The people that you hang out with are really important, right? Not saying you have to change everybody and get rid of all your friends and family and hang out with new people, although sometimes that might be the case. That's not always the case. And there's a lot that you can do. So I'm going to share that in this episode as well. So to start, we really do need to start understanding why this shows up. When we look at, our friends and family, and they're saying all the things like, yeah, good for you. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. And I want to support you. And this is amazing, right? They're cheering you on in one breath. And then in the other breath, they're like, oh, come on, just one cookie. Just one. It's good. I made them for you. They're special. So why the back and forth? Why the confusing mixed messages? And this is where I love sharing these insights that I've seen in my work, in my own life, obviously doing my own inner healing. I've seen this. I can step back and actually see and understand how our subconscious mind works, because it's going on for me too. So we can understand this in other people. So what essentially is happening for a lot of people in those situations when maybe you're feeling like your friends and family actually aren't supporting you, they're trying to pull you back into the sugar hole, right? They're not actually respecting your decision and your voice, right? When you say, no, thank you, I'm good. Maybe they're cookie pushers, right? Maybe they're like asking you 6 times so that you can't say no. And you know that they love you. You know they want to support you. And at the same time, what you're doing by choosing to be empowered and put yourself first and get off sugar or get healthy in whatever way you're doing it is a threat to their ego. This is a threat. You changing and evolving and growing and improving yourself is a threat to the ego of everyone in your life. It's a threat. And most people are not aware. And this is where those little jabs will come in, right? Oh, you're too healthy. Stop being so strict about sugar. Because when you are getting healthy, there's a couple things that could be going on here, but this is all, I want to point this out. Most people have no idea this is going on. This is subconscious programming that is literally deep at a primal level. So your friends and family have no idea they're doing this. Okay, so that's really important because it can help you have a little compassion for where they're coming from and understand that, oh, they're not trying to sabotage me. Their ego is threatened. For me, that really helped understanding, and it allowed me to brush off those comments that might be said to me, right? And not really care about other people's opinions in that way, because I knew that it wasn't actually them speaking, it was their ego that was threatened. So one of the things that's really going on here is that when you make the choice to get healthy, whether it's to give up sugar or to get off gluten or to start exercising more, it reminds people in your life that they aren't, that maybe they're not doing that thing. You are a mirror now to that person. So say there are people in your life who wish that they could eat healthy and they deeply desire to move more and exercise more. And here you are doing it. It brings up such a level of inner guilt and shame for the other people that are wanting to also make those changes, but maybe not ready or not in the place that you are in actually doing that. So by you doing it, you're actually showing them subconsciously that they're not. And that's a really big wound for a lot of people in like that threat, right? Look at this person shining. Look at this amazing woman giving up sugar and doing all these amazing things for her health. And here I am doing nothing. And that really highlights it when you start to change. And it ultimately makes them feel bad about themselves and judged. Even if you're not judging, they're judging themselves. So here you are just shining your light saying, you know what? I'm eating healthy. I've given up sugar. I feel amazing. And this is something that I'm doing for myself. And subconsciously for them, they may feel that you're judging them for not giving up sugar. So here they are sitting next to you on the couch, eating some ice cream, feeling like, ooh, because you gave it up the ice cream, that now you're judging them for eating ice cream. And that ultimately is self-judgment, right? Whenever we think someone else is judging us, we're just judging ourselves. That is like, if you've never heard that before, take a look in the mirror on that one. It's so true. When we feel judged, it's actually because there's a part of us that's judging ourselves in that area. So this judgment comes in, and this is a huge threat to the ego, right? We feel bad about ourselves. We feel judged. And to add to that, there is a very deep primal worry that if you begin to change, right? You begin to take responsibility for your life, speak your truth, set better boundaries, not eat sugar anymore, start exercising every day, that if you change, if you evolve into this new version of yourself, that you may no longer want them in your life. So there's this very real deep threat that you might leave. And most of us have abandonment issues. Most of us have some sort of core wound around disconnection, being abandoned by our friends or our family when we were younger, and that wound can get stepped on because we think, oh my goodness, this person is changing. That means they're no longer going to love me, and they're no longer going to want to be with me, and they're going to judge me because I want to keep eating ice cream. So these are things that are so subtle, but so huge and powerful, happening under the surface, subconsciously. This is subconscious, meaning they don't have any clue that this is actually what's going on. And I want you to have a clue of what's going on, because some of these things might actually be going on for you. You also have an ego. We all have an ego. It's all there. It's always there trying to self-sabotage us, but it can help you really start putting some context to where they might be coming from. And there's also a very real fact that a lot of people who do love you don't want you to feel left out, right? It's the same if you gave up drinking or if you gave up eating meat and wanted to be vegan, right? There's all these changes. They don't want you to feel left out. So they may think they're trying to protect you, right? Subconsciously trying to protect you to stay part of the tribe, right? To help you continue to blend in so you don't get kicked out of the tribe. So there may be this real part of them that's actually just wanting you to feel a part of the group, right? So if you've ever been to a party where there's someone who has given up alcohol, right? There's almost like this pressure to, I got to get them something fun to drink, so they feel like they've also got something fun to drink, right? With the rest of us are drinking wine, like, ooh, what can I put in a wine glass for them so they can feel like they fit in? So there is a very real drive to make sure that our loved ones don't get kicked out of the tribe, right? That they are in the container of safety in this group, being accepted and fit in and all those things. So they may be also trying to do that when they're trying to make you eat the cookie, right? Like, everyone else is having dessert. I don't want you to sit at the table feeling like you don't fit in. So here, you better have some dessert too. So this is ultimately, we're going to shift in a minute to what you can do about this, because there's so much that you can do here to help shift these dynamics and support the people that you love in actually supporting you. And the last thing before we slide into what you can do about it is also a really big thing outside of the ego that's going on here in why your family and friends may not be supporting you in the way that you need them to, is that, as you know, food, and especially sugar, is one of the most common ways to express and receive love. So there is a very, very real dynamic around love here. If you haven't already started kind of looking at this from all angles in your own life, please do that now. But what is going on, and what I see going on specifically in these situations, there's a lot of times where, maybe your mom has baked you a fresh plate of cookies, because that's how she expresses love to you. And she brings them over to your house and she hands them to you, and you say you don't want them. Or you go to her house, right? And she's offering you a cookie, or your friend has baked you, this big cheesy gluten white pasta dish, I don't know, right? And brings it to your house. And essentially in that offering, when they're handing it over to you, what's happening under the surface is they're giving you their love. They've put so much time and energy and love into these cookies or this casserole, and now they're presenting it to you on a platter. And when you say, no thanks, I'm not eating sugar, ooh, it's like an arrow to the heart. You're not accepting my love. You don't love me. So this is a very, very real, complicated piece in this when people are using food, which we all do, and I bet you're doing it. So you can start being aware of that, where you're doing that, and maybe start shifting out of that. No judgment, no guilt, right? But as you start noticing where this is showing up, you can also start to have compassion for that person that is trying to give you their love, right? And when you say, no, thank you, that's a huge hurt, right? They feel ultimately like you're not accepting their love and that maybe you don't love them, right? And maybe you're now no longer baking cookies for them. Maybe that was how you used to show them love, but now you're not doing sugar, so you're not baking them cookies. And now they're extra feeling unloved. Wait a second, you used to bring me, dessert, or we would go out for dessert together, right? That was our special thing to do, to love each other and to be together and connect, right? There's so many emotions and pieces tied into this. So we need to learn how to relate to the people that we love in our life, our family and friends and other people, in a way that unravels this connection to food. Because ultimately what we're really looking for is love, connection, acceptance, right? And those actually have nothing to do with food. They've just been so intertwined that sometimes it feels like it's the only way to do that. So really, really important to understand that piece is going on as well. And I hope that gives you like a lot of pieces to understand about what's going on subconsciously when your friends and family are really telling you they want to support you, telling them that they're proud of you for giving up sugar, but not acting in that way, right? And this happens all the time. So I really want you to start noticing and paying attention to what pieces of the ego might be showing up, what pieces of this love and connection tie to food might be showing up for those people in your life. And then you're going to start doing something about it. Obviously, this is going to depend on the person and you as well, like what feels right to you. There's no one way to navigate this and to properly get the support from your friends and family, because it's going to be unique to honestly like what feels good in your body, what feels intuitively connected and supportive for your relationship with that person. So sometimes it might need to be a really frank and specific conversation, and sometimes it might need to be more gentle. So just acknowledge that there can be a different approach with every person. I mean, you might have a different dynamic with your mom than you do your best friend, and there might be a different approach. So I'm just sharing here a list of things that I've used in my own journey, right, with other people in my life, and that I've seen work for my clients. So this is definitely not an extensive list. There's probably other things that you can be doing here as well. So as I share these tools, I want you to start thinking about other pieces maybe that you need to bring in or that you can use to navigate maybe these people or situations that are showing up for you. So first thing is setting boundaries. Okay, setting clear boundaries and communicating them. We often are like, oh, I've set all these great boundaries, but nobody knows about them. So how's that going to go, right? So if you set a boundary around, please don't bring sugar into my house, great boundary, right? Or please don't offer me treats when I come over to your house. These are boundaries that you can communicate, right, around sugar, right? Or, hey, instead of going out for dessert every Friday, why don't we go out for a walk? Because I'm trying to cut back on sugar, right? These are boundaries, and communicating them with the people that you need. Right? Maybe at the office, you need to ask for people to stop leaving treats on your desk, or maybe putting it in a drawer instead of out in the open in the staff room. So what are the areas that you actually need to support you in this journey? And are there boundaries that you really do need to set up that you haven't? And there probably is. There's probably one or two or three. So really start thinking about that and where that can really play in with the people that might not be really showing up and supporting you. Another important piece is the communication. This is huge. Communication. I'm going to do some episodes on how to effectively do this in the future, because I feel like it's something that I've really evolved a lot in over my journey over the last years. But ultimately, when it comes to this decision that you're making in whatever way, maybe you're detoxing from sugar, maybe you're just lowering your sugar intake, maybe you've given up gluten, maybe you're no longer eating pasta. I don't know what it is, right? Wherever you are on your journey, communicating with those around you that you're doing it. First of all, a lot of us try to do it like secretly, right behind the scenes, like no one's going to notice that I'm giving up sugar, right? And then it kind of has this like shameful, sneaky energy. And we don't want that. That's toxic. That's toxic. We don't want that. You want to own that you're doing this and be proud of this, whatever step it is you're taking. And when you communicate it, when you share this with your friends and family, please, please, please be very energetically aware of sharing it from a place of self-empowerment and not judgment. Okay, we can share, and the words that we use can be about why we are making this change for us. Instead of, well, I've heard that sugar is really terrible and nobody should be eating it because it's just killing you, so I'm going to give it up, and I think everybody should. That is a very shaming, judgy sentence. Imagine sitting at a table with somebody who's saying that to you. Versus, you know what? I've learned that sugar really feels terrible in my body, and it's actually ruining my sleep and the way that I feel every day. And I want to actually try just giving it up for a while to see if my body responds. So I've decided to do this for me. So making this about you. This is your journey, and making sure to leave any finger pointing or educating or shaming out of it. Okay. And really focusing on why you're making this choice for you. And this applies especially if your husband's not on board, if your kids don't get it, which is really, really, really common. Okay. Just showing up and being like, this isn't a threat to you. I want to try this for me because I'm experiencing some things in my body that are no longer working for me. And I want to see if giving up sugar solves it. It probably will. Side note, it probably will. Definitely feel better giving up sugar. So really focusing on you. Okay. And the non-judgment piece, right? So as you're communicating, not only please be careful of where you're judging yourself, because this shows up too, right? If you're insecure around, ooh, like, I'm not doing it right, or I shouldn't be giving up sugar, or oh my goodness, like I'm going to fail at this, like all the self-sabotaging chatter that comes in, be very careful where you're judging yourself in that. And also if you're judging others, right? If you're choosing to give up sugar, and you know how toxic it is, and maybe you're fired up. I've had lots of clients who like get so fired up about the food industry and how we've been lied to, and all of this stuff is so empowering, right? And we can sometimes get on our high horse. We have to be really careful to check ourselves with giving out information to those that we love and judging others, like, ooh, you shouldn't be eating that ice cream, right? Please, please, please don't let your ego run the show and put yourself up on this fancy pedestal because you gave up sugar. It's just going to complicate and really, put some icky energy between the relationships that you have. So stay as non-judgmental as possible. Really let the people around you eat sugar if they want, and just focus on you. The next thing that is very important for you to do, and this is not just with your relationship and journey with sugar, this is in every area of your life, ask for what you need. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you how many women I've come across, hey, myself included, for many, many years, that are going around expecting everyone to know what we need, right? Like, oh, why is so-and-so, why is my husband bringing cookies into the house all the time, or always offering to go and pick me up ice cream? Well, probably because you never told them not to. So if you're doing this and you're communicating this, oftentimes you are going, not often, always, you are going to need to get really clear first for yourself of what you're going to need in terms of support. I need you not to bring cookies into the house. I need you to please hide your snacks in a cupboard. I need you to please stop asking me this or offering me this. Get really specific. Okay, it's so funny. I mean, I've been through this a lot in my relationship. Like, as women, somehow we just expect the men in our lives to know exactly what we need at all times. Like, what do you mean you didn't know that I needed that? And we've never communicated it. So get really specific. Okay, specific is important, because if you're vague, that other person's going to interpret that in the complete opposite way as you meant it. That's just how it's going to work. So be specific, and you might not know what you need quite yet. Right? But as soon as you do know, because someone's going to do something that triggers you or that you notice difficult, and you go, oh, okay, I do need that. Communicate it in a loving way and ask for that support. Are you able to help me with this? Here's what I need. Like, can you do that? Right? This isn't about demanding what you need. This can be a conversation, especially if it's someone that you live with. This can be a, hey, here's some things that I'm finding really triggering and difficult. And while I'm in this beginning stage with sugar, I really need some help in these areas. Is that something you can do? Right? Or can we find a middle ground or, compromise? So make it a conversation. This isn't like, this is what I need and you have to do it. Okay. No. But you do get to communicate what you need and see, can we Is that doable? Is that something that other person is willing to do? The other piece here is really protecting your energy. Okay. And what I mean by that is we are constantly going around every day giving our energy away to other people who are energy suckers. There are people in our lives that just take, right? And I really want you to start paying attention to when you're hanging out with certain family and friend members, do you leave feeling energized or drained? Do you leave feeling exhausted or uplifted, motivated, and excited about life? That's a really good barometer for knowing where your energy is being drained and not. There's so much around energy. We'll have to do another episode around that. But ultimately, noticing where that's coming in and where your energy is being drained can really help you start managing your energy, because the more you protect your energy, the stronger you will feel in your journey, right? Especially in the beginning stages of giving up sugar, and noticing like, okay, I need to look after me. So maybe that means more nights at home, more sleep, more things that are really nourishing for you in the beginning, and paying attention to the people that may not really be supporting you in the ways that you need. And that's okay. Maybe later you can rekindle that relationship. But for now, maybe you need to take a pause, right? Maybe you need to protect your energy and put yourself first, because ultimately your journey and your healing relationship with food is your responsibility. And you do need to make these calls sometimes where, okay, this person might be toxic in my life, and I'm just going to take a pause from spending time with them right now because I need to look after me. And please know that's not selfish. That is self-love 101. And it is such an empowering and beautiful decision to make if you do it in a kind and loving way. The other piece that is vital here is finding others, finding more people doing what you're doing, right? You know, we talk a lot here about community and support, right? Whether it's working with a coach, finding a community in your local area or online, being with people who get it. So if your family and friends just don't get it, they think you're crazy, you're the black sheep in the family, welcome to the club, first of all. And second of all, it is mandatory that you have a group that you can go and vent to, that you can go and lean on and go, oh yeah, okay, I'm not crazy. You spend all day with your friends and family, start thinking, wow, I am crazy. I should start eating sugar again. You need to have someone to go and lean on that's like, no, you're doing the right thing. You're not crazy. This is so worth it. You're worth it. You need those people, those cheerleaders in your life that are there with you alongside. So please, in whatever way you can, find that community and lean on it. Lean on it daily. Okay? As we talked about love, this is really important. So here's how you tackle the love piece, the food love piece. Communicate. First of all, you have to get clear on how you feel most loved. For anyone who's never looked at the 5 love languages or read that book, I would recommend starting there. It's really, really insightful into how you maybe give and receive love, and getting clear on how that feels for you. You know, what actually makes you feel loved? Like for me, one of my biggest ones is quality time. So people spending quality connected time without their phones with me, and doing adventures. I love doing adventures as well. That's quality time for me. So that is how I feel most loved. So how do you feel most loved? Without food. And this might be really important because you can use this knowledge then to also show your self-love, right? Like when I feel most loved with myself, when I'm actually spending quality time with myself. I'm going on some sort of adventure. Maybe I'm going on a road trip. Maybe I've taken myself away for the weekend. That's how I love myself, because I know my love language. So you can start to fill your love cup up in this way and communicate how you feel most loved to those around you. So say, for instance, your mom is always showing her love by baking you fresh scones every time you go over. Now you can start to get clear on, you know what, Mom? My love language and how I feel most loved is actually, spending time together, or physical touch. Maybe you give me a massage every time I come over, rub my feet, right? Or hug me, right? Or maybe it's words of affirmation. I mean, there's a few there in that book that are really, really helpful, but helping you start to get clear on how you feel most loved. Mom, I feel most loved when we just sit and have tea and chat and you hug me, right? Or when we go on an adventure together. Right. And when you can start to communicate that, you can start to unravel like, Mom, I don't need scones. I know that you love me and I just want to spend quality time with you. So communicating that is going to be really important. Say, I'm not eating sugar anymore, but I do want you to know that I feel most loved when X, Y, and Z. This is important in any relationship. So start exploring how you feel most loved, and it's a great conversation starter because then you can ask, hey mom, how do you feel most loved? Or hey best friend, how do you love to give love and receive love? There might be a difference there as well. So start having those conversations. And lastly, what you can do here, and this is a last resort, okay? But ultimately, most of us will have an experience where there is one or two people in our life that are not actually honoring our wishes, that are not ultimately respecting you and respecting your choice to give up sugar and respecting what you're asking in terms of support and what you need, and maybe not respecting your boundaries. This happens. And it's unfortunate, but it's ultimately, again, a really important step, an act of self-love to distance yourself from these people and to find new people. And sometimes that can be heartbreaking. There's a grieving process. I know I've personally been through this myself, switching all my friends in the span of about 2 years and letting go of relationships that no longer served me. And it is painful and it is difficult, but ultimately it's important for your growth and your journey, right? To really finding peace and freedom with food and yourself. So please just acknowledge if there are people in your life that continually don't show up for you. Those people don't deserve to be in your life. I want you valuing yourself and knowing how crazy worthy you are of being respected and going after your dreams and being healthy and living the life of what you want, right? This life, full life, abundant life. And if there are people standing in your way, please stop catering to them. Please know your worth enough. And if you don't know it, here's your reminder, because you are crazy worthy and you deserve people in your life that are going to respect you and show up. And yeah, not everybody's going to be perfect. They might, oops, I forgot about that, right? Or oops, I forgot you didn't want me to bake you scones anymore. That's okay. Right? It's going to take a while to like rebuild this different type of relationship with you that you're asking for. And that's okay. But you'll know when there's someone in your life that's just not making an effort, right? Or not respecting your wishes over and over and over again. And please stop being a doormat. Okay? You do not deserve that. So I hope that you can feel that. And I hope that you're willing to do that for yourself as an act of self-love if you're noticing that might be showing up in some of your relationships. So ultimately, as we wrap things up, right, this is helpful to understand these subconscious patterns that are going on with your friends and your family so that you can start to have more compassion for them and really understand how your healthy changes may actually be triggering and may be a threat to their ego, right, in this very deep subconscious way. And then you can learn to speak up, right? You'll learn to communicate, learn to connect with what you need, how you feel most loved, and honor, your own power and decisions in this journey in a really loving way. So I hope that was good. I love talking about that. I really want to hear from all of you around this topic. This is so important because we all have this coming up in some way or another. And if you don't yet, you're going to start noticing it more just after listening to this episode. So I would love to hear your thoughts. Come and send me a message on Instagram or Facebook. Send me a DM. I would love to hear your biggest takeaway from this episode. And don't forget, if you're loving this podcast, it helps me so much if you leave a review. I would absolutely be honored if you'd take a minute to leave a 5-star review here on Apple. And I believe you can review also on Spotify. I don't know how all the platforms work still. Again, remember, not so techie, but I'm figuring it out and I'm doing it. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, everyone who's already left a review. It really helps this podcast reach more people in a really big way. So huge shout out to all of you. And I just love all of you. And I'm so grateful for you tuning into another episode. And I can't wait to see you on the next one. Bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning into another episode. If you're loving what we talked about today, please remember to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone you love. And if you're ready to dive deeper into discovering your root causes and patterns that are keeping you hooked on sugar, be sure to check out our brand new free workshop series that will help you kick emotional eating for good. Find the link to download this free series and other amazing resources in the show notes below.